disenchanted, disenfranchised, demoralized, disturbed, disgusted, downright downtrodden parents. We're going to talk about that today on the program. Hit the like button, share the show. I also want to talk about school resource officers not being in the school anymore. In circumstance, smoke and mirrors. That's what's happening. Rifkin, I see the wheels turning. I see the wheels turning fast over there, Rifkin. Anywhere you want to go, Rifkin.
Very simple. They just don't want to be blamed for anything. And if they can avoid any sort of public scrutiny by any excuse possible, I think that's the route they're going to go.
Dude, you got good takes.
Appreciate that.
You're good in this setting. Dude, he's 22. Is he not, viewers and listeners watching this program, good in this setting? The dude has got good takes. Buchensky, Michael, Coach Buchensky watching this program. Can those schools document in any way if these name changes have any correlation with improved student graduation rates, testing improvements, or general overall better educational experiences? If there is empirical data that justifies, then rebrand away. If not, they need to stop virtue signaling and address the real issues at hand. I mean, that is so well said.
And we all know that the rebranding has absolutely no effect on test scores.
The rebranding is not going to help a third grader pass the math SOL.
Yeah.
Can anyone make a justifiable argument that changing the name of Meriwether Lewis is going to help a third grader do better at math? Anyone here? I can't do that, can you?
I can't even imagine being a third grader knowing who Meriwether Lewis was. In third grade, maybe there are some third grade history buffs out there that know all about the racial implications of our now most derided public figures, but as a third grader, I honestly wouldn't have cared two wits about the name of the school.
As a third grader, all I cared about was playing soccer, my schoolboy crush on Jessica Pasco, making sure I didn't pee my pants, and trying to sit in my seat so Mrs. Wingo didn't spank me with the yardstick. I went to Catholic school. As a third grader, all I cared about was trading baseball cards, seeing if I can cross the monkey bars without falling down on the mulch bed. As a third grader, all I cared about was what Jessica was doing in the seat next to me. Man, those curly blonde locks, I can remember them to this day. What were you remembering, Joey Rifkin, as a third grader?
I remember not caring about the name of my elementary school and paying a lot of attention to my third grade teacher.
There you go. Third grade Judah Wickhauer.
Man, I was running around on the playground with my friends reenacting A-Team shows and the Dark Crystal. I mean, that was that's
the Dark Crystal.
What was the Dark Crystal? Do you know the Dark?
That weird one with like the puppets and that girl, or
yeah, close enough.
Yeah, that one. I watched that when I was like 6. Very traumatized.
You watched that when you were 6?
Like way too young to be watching that movie.
I love Joey so much.
It's a kid's show, but yeah, it was pretty traumatizing.
Oh, I love Joey so much. Sarah Hill says, how are the consultant groups and parent committees chosen and formed? Great question.
Craigslist.
Yeah, Craigslist. God, Rifkin is freaking funny. Is there a laugh track on this? Is there a laugh on this?
Yeah.
Where's the laugh? Play the laugh for Rifkin over here for saying Craigslist.
Let's see.
How are the consulting groups and parent committees formed?
Oh, that's not it.
That's not the laugh track.
Where's the
That's
laugh
a belch. He did the belch.
Man.
The parent committees. There we go. There it is.
Sounds kind of like chickens.
That's a laugh track. The parent committees are formed, and the consulting groups are formed by swiping left and right on Tinder. That's how they're formed.
Yeah.
I think someone in the front office of Albemarle County Public Schools is swiping left. They're swiping right. Ooh, I like what they look like. Let's put them on the Meriwether Lewis Naming Committee. Ooh, swipe left, swipe right. Let's put them on the Jack Jewett Naming Committee. I mean, might as well. King of Redfields. Got a direct one for us. Bob Yarborough. I hear you about the priorities, boys. I just don't think it's as clear swap out, so to speak. Let's say they quit the rebranding altogether and all of those funds go to teacher pay raises. I just don't think those savings move the needle on those salaries. But I don't know because I don't have the total spend.
Yeah,
let's say it's $1 million. The total learning staffing budget is like $168 million. At $60,000 annual salary, that's not a significant increase. That's fair.
I was having that same thought the other day. I also don't know the numbers, so it's really impossible to calculate. But yeah, what if you're saving $1 million on rebranding for one school, and you've got to spread that around between I don't know how many. Let's say you want 17 bus drivers and how many teachers? 50?
Okay,
55.
Let's
say it's 60 teachers and bus drivers, and I think 1 million is maybe a little high for
let's just use $1 million.
A single school's rebranding.
Let's use $1 million. Let's use $1 million. Okay.
$1 million for all of Charlottesville.
For
rebranding?
Albemarle County rebranding,
Okay.
all schools. $1 million.
Yeah.
We're in the branding business. $1 million for all those schools that have been rebranded is not a ton, right? I mean, you're talking gym floors, you're talking walls, you're talking signage. You and I know how expensive this is. Let's just say $1 million, and let's just do it for the bus drivers. And let's use the number 20. They don't have 20 bus drivers. They don't have 20 bus drivers in Albemarle. But for the sake of easy math, where you're going to use 20, $1 million divided by 20 bus drivers, that's $50,000 additional dollars for the drivers. That would move the needle.
That would definitely move the needle, but I think
that would move the needle.
I think you're a little high there.
On what? The $1 million?
The $1 million and just spreading it around the bus drivers.
Okay,
What
let's
about
do
all the
this.
teachers?
Let's do this. Let's call it 700. Let's just do bus drivers. We have to get the kids to school. Let's call it 750,000. They don't have 20 bus drivers right now. 750,000 divided by 20. That's 37,500 extra for the bus drivers. The bus drivers are making $16.15 an hour. If we said to the bus drivers, here's an extra 37,500 bucks, we don't think people would come up and drive some tin cans and pick up kids? Do we? Right?
You get the 15 plus the 37?
Yeah.
Man, I'd start driving.
Okay, there you go. Judah Whitcower is about to quit and be a bus driver. He's going to drive in the morning and the evening.
I'll get my CDL right now.
He's getting his CDL right now. There you go. Michael Buchensky says Joey looks like a superstar, a celebrity, almost like Jesse from Breaking Bad. You're getting some props right now.
I'll take that.
Absolutely take that. Jesse was a pimp, right?
Of course.
Jesse was a pimp. Catherine Lochner, parent committees are formed by school board members choosing them. There is a personal connection between the parent committees and the school board. Therefore, it's causing an echo chamber. Good Lord. That sounds like nepotism.
That sounds exactly like nepotism.
That's nepotism. School board members, woke agenda.
I don't know if I'd call it nepotism.
What do you call it? What do you call it?
I mean,
favoritism? You call it undemocratic? What do you call it?
yeah, I mean,
This is the definition of nepotism. The practice among those with power or influence favoring friends or relatives by giving them positions or jobs. That is nepotism.
but is that a job or is that just are they actually giving people jobs?
Jobs or positions of influence.
Okay, fair enough.
School board members that have agendas, picking parents, cherry picking them to be on committees.
Who will follow their agenda?
Who will follow their agenda? What? What is going on here? This is the corruption of public schools led by a vocal and organized minority pushing, and maybe you're turned off by this. I'm still trying to figure it out. And if you're turned off, I mean this in respectful fashion. Okay? You can tell me, you can go at me. Go at me if you want. Go at me. Pushing wokeism. Moms and dads watching the program, I'm going to say this again. Write this down and tell your friends and family to listen to this damn show. The school board is cherry picking parents for committees. And the school board, in nepotistic fashion, is hand picking and cherry picking parents to push their wokeism agenda. Who wants to touch that? You don't have to if you don't want to. You you'll catch some heat, I assure you, on Charlottesville Twitter if you do. Joey don't want to touch that one right there. Do you want to touch that one? Totally fine if you don't want to. I don't want to put you in a tough spot.
Just because I feel so the reason I call out nepotism is because I feel it's a bit strongly worded the way you use it. I don't know, but I don't think these people, I can understand if they're choosing people that happen to align with their own beliefs. We all do that.
I do not do that. I do not do that.
Okay.
You and I are completely opposite people. If I wanted to do a talk show with somebody, I would not pick you, the bear to my bull. You, on every single talk show, Scott Airworth literally said this as he walked in and delivered Lampo. You two, Jerry and Judah, contradict and are opposite on every damn thing you do.
But we have very similar belief systems.
Judah, everything you say, not everything. I'm going to be not hyperbolic. Hyperbolic is the word. I will not be hyperbolic. You're doing it right now.
That's because you need a mediating voice, Jerry.
You nitpick everything I said.
That's because you say everything as though it was written in stone fact.
If I'm just saying,
in reality,
we're doing it right now. It's literally happening right now. Joey's feeling a little. Are you feeling uncomfortable right now?
This is why I'm in the middle of the shot.
Okay, there we go. That's why he's the media. Joey's so good. I love Joey. You are doing it now. If I wanted somebody to just be a yes man or a yes woman, I would have. Who would I have? I would have.
The fact of the matter is,
my cousin John saying this. You're right, Jerry.
We still
100%. You're right, Jerry.
Fairly closely.
I agree with everything you're saying, Jerry. You do not do that.
But because I need more information, we are two very different people who happen to align on similar political lines. But in terms of how we view the world, you are a trumpeter. You shout out your beliefs to everyone who will listen. I am a learner. I always want to know more. And unless you give me written in stone facts, I will keep asking you for more information, because I'm not going to just sit here and say, okay, you're right, because you're very bombastic.
Okay, and that's a perfect example of me not surrounding myself with people that are nothing but yes people.
Right.
He made my argument better than me. You know what I could do? I could hire someone and pay a bank, lives in Albemarle County as a homeowner, as a single man, right in the urban ring, 8 minutes from the downtown mall, literally.
Yes, but your statement of them pulling in people for whatever board or team or whatever where they're getting this is all hypothetical. You're not pointing at any particular group and saying, look how they all say the same thing, or look how all these people agree with this guy who gave them the job. I think you're probably fairly close to the mark on this, but you're not dealing in facts.
Dude. Catherine, okay, want some facts? Catherine Lochner, watching the program right now. Catherine Lochner, did you at one time run for school board? In fact, I'll just put your name in Google. Catherine Lochner, Albemarle County. She was an at-large candidate, interviewed by Charlottesville Tomorrow.
Okay.
Ran for school board, Catherine Lochner.
You sound like you've just made a point.
I'm about to make the point.
Okay.
Here it comes. Catherine Lochner ran for school board, Albemarle County. She's putting in the feed. The parent committees are chosen by the school board members.
Yeah.
Is it not a logical leap that if the school board members are picking the parental committees, human nature would suggest they're picking and selecting people that align with their beliefs and values?
That may be a logical assumption, but it is not a statement of facts. I'm sorry. We're always going to differ on you presenting some...
And that's a perfect example of me not surrounding myself with yes people. Right there. Joey is getting so much empathy and sympathy right now. Travis Hackworth and Danville says, poor Joey, stuck in between this argument.
My head's just going back and forth.
Someone else just said, all your names start with J. Scott Airworth says, this is the magic when J-Dubs and Jerry have these discussions. And I'm very well aware of that. I'm very well aware of a little verbal sparring makes for some fantastic ratings and viewership. Very well aware of that. Very well aware. MJ Arquette and Joey, I want to get you in the mix, and we still got to talk school resource officers. MJ Arquette. How many kids do you have in Albemarle County Public Schools, MJ? She's the queen of marketing. I believe it's 3 and a husband. No, excuse me. I believe you have 4 in Albemarle County Public Schools and a husband that's a teacher in Albemarle County Public Schools. She says, so I think the show has had a lot of heavy topics lately, mirroring what's happening in the world. And when things are heavy, a lot of times we speak in extremes. But I think at the end of the day, what makes these topics heavy and difficult is that we are living in a space where several things can be true at the same time. For example, I want equity, acceptance, and a safe space for all people in our school system, but I can still be frustrated with how this has been handled. None of these issues are an either or.
Yeah.
People need to expand their horizons and do some critical thinking. Can you do the soundtrack on that and give her some props? Thank you. Thank you. Ah, 3 kids in Albemarle County Public Schools and a husband teaching middle school. My middle schooler is at Sutherland/Lakeside. Is that what we just call it now? Southern Lakeside Middle School.
Southern Lakeside.
Yeah, Sotherside.
Souther side.
Sotherside.
I like Slakeside.
Lakeside's better, yeah.
You like, no, is it Lakeland?
Nah.
Lakeland Middle School?
Nah,
Okay.
Slakeside.
What do you call it?
Slakeside.
Slakeside.
Yeah.
They go to Slakeslide. I can't, that's
Sure.
tough to pronounce. Slakeside. Everyone is using it. Kevin Higgins says you should call it landslide.
That was what it was like when I went there, so. that's
Tell
a
us
good way
about
to-
the experiences. Multiple people are asking for more firsthand experiences from Joey at Sutherland.
Wow, man.
Don't hold back, Joe.
we don't have enough time for all of my Sutherland Middle School experiences, but I mean, I don't know. I think my time in middle school has to do with being not maybe quote unquote as popular as some of the other kids, and being one of like 4 Jewish kids in the entire school is pretty easy for putting a target on your back in that sense. So I think that's a big part of why my experience at Sutherland was so bad. But I mean, I do have friends that also agree that their time at Sutherland was probably their worst time in school. Whether that has to do with kids are just more mean at that age, or there was some sort of negative culture going on when we were there, I don't know. But from first-hand experience, I felt disrespected just based on my religion and
Because you were Jewish.
because I was Jewish. And to be very clear, I am not practicing. I'm very bad at being Jewish, but I am, like, I was bar mitzvahed and all that, and so it was known. And
I mean, your last name is Rifkin.
yeah, I mean, it's not hard to
known
figure
as a
out.
Jewish name?
Yeah, it's more of an Irish last name.
Oh, is it Irish last name?
I mean, I don't know if it's like specifically.
I mean, all I got to say is this. By my count, and I've known you for all of
I never would have guessed
3
it.
days, I think you're a phenomenal human being. And I think
Appreciate
you're
that.
a phenomenal broadcaster.
Thank you.
No,
well,
so-
I did win most likely to be a talk show host at Sutherland Middle School.
Get out of town. This is serendipitous. This is
Indeed.
serendipity here. Seriously. Dude has OBS background, production background, and won most talented broadcaster at Sutherland. This is serendipity. I want to go over there and give this man a hug. Keep talking to us, Joey. What was it like firsthand, Sutherland, you went through? Was it the most trying time of your life?
No, I mean, I wouldn't say it was the most trying time. I would say socially it was the worst time for me. I was the least aggressive towards people who were mean to me at that time. So I was very bad at standing up for myself, and I just kind of took whatever people threw at me, and it was just a lot of anti-Semitism for the most part for me, and I got that from students, and I got that from a few teachers. I definitely...
You got that from teachers?
Well, I remember specifically I was
Hold them accountable, Joey.
called out a couple of times by a teacher in front of the entire class for a number of things, but an example I'll give is we were doing some sort of like learning, some Jewish holiday was happening, and we were reading some prayer, and one of the girls, I wasn't about to go reading all this stuff. Like, I wasn't trying to be the center of attention. I really wanted to not be seen at all. And this girl's like, oh, I'll read the prayer, and she stands up, tries to read it. It's in Hebrew, obviously, written in English, but in Hebrew. So she can't, like... Yeah, exactly that. And she like, is mispronouncing every word. I don't care, because she's a 7th grader trying to read a language she doesn't know. Mm-hmm. But then my teacher, out of nowhere, just goes, okay, Joe, why don't you just stand up and do it? And I was like,
no thanks.
How about no? Like, no. And then one time I got in trouble because I said Jesus Christ in the classroom, and she wrote me up for that, and I got in-school suspension for that, which, whatever, fair. If that offends some people, then I'm not going to argue with that. But it was when I came back into the classroom to get my stuff, she was like, I get, like, with your religion, you don't believe Jesus was real and all that. And I was like, all right, you are just, like, completely incorrect. And now you're just assuming.
You're in 7th grade?
Yeah, and this was in 7th grade.
Christian school?
No,
this is Sutherland. This is a public school.
Sutherland.
Oddest thing I've ever heard.
It was so weird. I was like, how is this relevant? I get that I said that, and I get that that offends you, and I have no problem with that. But it has nothing to do with my religion. It just has everything to do with the fact that my dad didn't care that I said it. So, like, why do you have to bring that into that? And part of it was just, like, you're a teacher. You shouldn't be bringing it up, period. It shouldn't matter to you. So most of it, I mean, I got a lot from kids, the basic throwing the pennies, things like that. But I guess, it was weird. The teacher thing was really weird for me. That was a little odd. But, I mean, I definitely can say for certain, as much as I'm for changing all the names, I'm totally for that. I don't think it will change any sort of culture that's already present.
Yeah. And that's common sense.
What is there anything particular behind the pennies thing, or is it just something stupid?
It's just stupid, but it's like, let's see if he'll like turn around and pick up
and
the
pick up the penny.
And it's like, I'm going to. You're giving me free money. I'll take it. But like, I mean, it was whatever. You learn to like by the time high school started, I'd heard everything, so like it really just kind of bounced off of me by that point. But like, over the 3 years of middle school, it was a lot of, hey, there's the Jew kid. And, it was like, all right, now I'm over it, so.
Oh, Joey, I feel for you. God.
Is what it is. I mean, it's.
For thee, but not for me.
I feel for Joey. Dude, he's turning into inner circle family and friends already. Multiple people are asking what bus you rode, Joey. And were you at Sutherland during A12, August 12, 2017?
No.
And multiple parents are saying, I'm sorry you had to deal with this. You should relay the bus experience.
I appreciate that. Thankfully, I did not ride the bus at Sutherland. My mom lives close. My mom lives in Forest Lake, so I was able to walk home from school. Anytime my dad would, I would stay at my dad's house. He'd pick me up, so I didn't ride the bus in Sutherland, but I did ride the bus in high school, and that was completely different. The bus to my mom's house really was not all that bad, but it was the bus ride to my dad's house that was really crazy, I guess. I mean, it was just, basically, we picked up kids from Jewett and we picked up kids from Albemarle, and all the kids from Albemarle would be sitting in the back, of course, and then the kids, the Jewett kids would be sitting in the front. But there was this kind of like hierarchy depending on where you sat in the bus, like how far to the back of the bus you were.
We're the cooler
like,
kids.
Yeah, I know those kids. They definitely aren't the cool kids. But
Alpha
like,
dogs.
Yeah, they were the alpha dogs of that bus, which is like very easy to be an alpha dog from that. But anyways, what I'm saying is like I just heard some very obscene stuff on the bus. I remember very vividly the first day I rode the bus, my first day of high school. I haven't ridden the bus since elementary school, so I don't know what to expect. The bus picks me up from my dad's house. My dad's house was the last stop to pick a kid up. So the bus is already completely full. I walk all the way to the back, sit down, and the first thing I hear, obviously the kid doesn't know, but it was just ironic that the first thing I heard was the kid saying directly behind me is, "God, I hate Jews."
What?
And I'm just like,
Good.
man, this is going to be a long, 4 years. And yeah, I mean, they
said that to you?
No, they didn't say it to me. They just said it, and it just.
And you coincidentally were walking by?
I just coincidentally sat down right as so their topic was, whatever their topic of conversation was about was, yeah. And I wouldn't say that my bus was the most hostile out of all of them, though, because a lot of it was the kids that sat in the back was just a group of friends, and they were just loud and obnoxious and would say ridiculous things that kids that age would say. Thankfully, I didn't ride a bus where I witnessed any sort of bullying there was actually one time on my mom's on the bus to my mom's house.
What happened then?
There wasn't really anything that happened. I just remember one particular time a kid got beat up, like in the back of the bus,
Like badly?
No, just kind of like smacked around. I mean, yeah.
Michael
swung back.
Michael Buchensky says, have the public schools turned into Lord of the Flies?
I don't know if they've started eating each other yet, but maybe.
He also says, our society has become tribalized.
Yeah.
Do Democrats hire Republicans and vice versa often in politics? I would argue no, so I would tend to agree with Jerry's take on the cronyism and nepotism. It is not fact, but when there is an agenda a school board wants to implement, you would logically select those sympathetic to these goals. Yeah, that's well said, Michael Buchensky. I think that's just human nature.
That's fair.
Just human nature. Dude, I am like, want to go over there and give you a hug.
Nah, it's okay. Don't worry about it, Jerry.
School resource officers, I'll relay the take that CPD is asked to get into the narrative. And this is what CPD has asked this platform to get into the narrative. Without the school resource officers in the hallways, the Charlottesville Police Department doesn't have a direct line of communication to the schools when swatting incidents or these mass gun shooting hoaxes, the 911 fake calls. I guess you said it's not even calls anymore. I mean, you explained this so well when you were on the show last time. It's not like kids are picking up a phone and calling and saying that there's going to be a mass shooting anymore, because that can be tracked fairly easily. You said this is happening through disguised, ISP addresses. I'll let you explain that, because you seem to have a level of sophistication I certainly do not. But this is the message that the Charlottesville Police Department is asked to get into the community minds through this platform. If we don't have a school resource officer in the hallway, then we don't have a direct line of communication when we get these alerts. So we have to send the full force of the department to the school in case this is like a legitimate Columbine situation. So that's when earlier this week we saw this and it was everywhere, and parents or students were taking videos of the police officers with machine guns in the hallways scaring the bejeebus out of them. The police officers have said, we didn't know otherwise because the school resource officers aren't there for us to communicate with. They've asked that to get into the public narrative through this water cooler, the I Love Seville network. Show's yours, gentlemen. And I just realized how you guys did the lower thirds on screen. I love it. The jack of all trades and the trade of all jacks.
Trade
It's
of all
brilliant. It's freaking brilliant. I love it.
That's all on Joey.
Joey, it's brilliant.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Who wants to start? Why don't you, since he offered a great first-hand take, and then you have some ammunition for us as well. Judah, school SROs.
I mean, all I can do is reiterate what you said. I mean, the school needs somebody that police can liaise with when they find out there's a problem. Somebody that can say, I'm looking up and down the halls, and I think you've been swatted.
That seems like common sense to me.
Yeah.
Joey Rifkin.
Yeah, I mean, my own personal views of police as a whole aside, if having a school resource officer in the school is going to prevent, in this case, us wasting taxpayer dollars and resources sending a bunch of armed police, military-esque police to school to defuse the situation that isn't even there, then of course we need to have some sort of way to directly communicate between the police department and the schools, because all it takes is one person to call in a fake hoax, and then you've reallocated a ton of resources from the police department to somewhere else, and someone who might want to use that nefariously could totally use that as some sort of distraction or whatever. So I do see why we would need to have school resource officers for this scenario.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a good point. Those services
Common sense.
are for emergencies, and having them, I mean, Lord forbid that Charlottesville ever desperately needs its SWAT team for something, but generally speaking, if something were to happen where they were needed and they were otherwise taken up with some fake call, that would be very sad, and that's when bad things happen.
There you go.
Somebody gets hurt that could have been prevented because some resource was, it's like sending a fire truck in the opposite direction of where there's an actual fire.
Well said. Can I emphasize facts? You like facts? Here are facts. Albemarle County Public School System enrollment is dropping. That's a fact. Albemarle County Public School teachers are quitting less than ever. That's a fact.
You mean more than ever?
There's less teachers than ever.
More of them are quitting.
More of them are quitting. Bus drivers, quitting at the most aggressive clip ever. Those are 3 facts. We have to figure out the underlying conditions of those disturbing trends. And from a common sense standpoint, it seems to be lack of compensation and piss poor quality of life and potentially downright incorrigible students.
I can't help but think the state of housing in Charlottesville may also play a part.
But that's compensation.
Can you compensate someone enough to make Charlottesville housing affordable?
I was having this
I don't know.
conversation, and I'm not going to use her name. She is watching the show right now. I am not going to use her name. And she highlighted that teachers are paid X amount of dollars for 9 months of work. And then she said they can then go get another job and grind for 3 extra months.
The key word being can, if they so choose.
The response I have to that is those 9 months that they worked are at a level and clip and amount of hours that's equivalent to a 12-month job.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they're asked to utilize their own damn money. My wife has asked me to stop cursing. They've asked to use their own darn money on school supplies.
Yeah.
So to say, teachers, you have 3 extra months, go find another job
Go out and hustle so you can afford to live in this town.
is disingenuous at
Yeah.
best.
I mean, what I say to that is, you go find me a job that you can get as someone in their late 20s, mid 30s, for only 3 months that can
That's
pay your
legit.
bills. Like, you can't do that. No one's going to do that. Oh, okay, you're a job 9 months out of the year. Forgo your 3-month vacation and work at McDonald's for 3 months. Sorry,
Or
like
scoop
that's
ice cream somewhere for the hot summer months.
And we're not knocking ice cream scoopers or McDonald's
no.
here.
Right.
We're not
But we're
knocking
not
that.
saying teachers should have to do it.
Exactly. Dude is smart. Dude is smart. I mean, to say, 9 months you're working, go work 3 other extra months, and then you get a living wage, that's bogus. Especially when those 9 months you're using your own limited salary to buy school supplies. Buchensky, props to you he's given. He says, I will say this, Coach Buchensky says, those students that are bullied, if they can survive it mentally, emotionally, and with their lives, honestly, they are some of the strongest people I know. I know this from firsthand experience, Joey. You learn to handle more in life than those throwing the rocks at you. And dude, I've known you for all of 3 days. You're a badass. Sorry, sweetheart.
Appreciate that, Coach.
Seriously, dude is a rock star. Oh, this show's been in fuego today. Final thoughts. Because Judah's going on vacation next week to the Outer Banks. So
Yep.
Judah is not going to be directing the show next week at the Outer Banks. Joey Rifkin's running solo next week, and his first show is Real Talk on Monday morning at 10:15 a.m. with me, Keith Smith, and Jeff Gaffney, the CEO of Real Estate 3.
Jeff Gaffney. Wow, I see his Instagram posts all the time.
He
I
does a
can
lot of
finally-
sponsored posts, doesn't he?
Yeah, I can tell him his stuff's showing up in my feed all the time.
Well, you're going to meet Jeff Gaffney on Monday.
Perfect.
We're going to have some final thoughts from Judah and Joey. So, gentlemen, organize those thoughts. I'll give you about 15 or 20 seconds to
man.
put those thoughts together as I fill some airtime with a little bit of monologue to allow the hamster wheels to spin. I encourage anyone that's watching this program to go to iloveseville.com and read the article, the story that I wrote, titled Albemarle County Public Schools rank in the bottom 11% of all Virginia public schools for black third grade math students. The kids that are getting screwed by the bus driver shortage are the same kids that are getting screwed in the SOL math and reading performance scenarios. So how can the kids close the education gap if they can't get to school on time? This is like death by 1,000 cuts. And the kids that can't do well in math and reading in the schools because they can't get to school on time because of the bus driver shortage, if they can't do well in math and reading, what is that going to translate to from a professional career standpoint? We're creating generations of poverty because of systematic failures. And those systematic failures are directly associated and pointed and tied to the school board and Albemarle County Public School leadership. Joey Rifkin's got a take to close. Some final thoughts for the young Jedi.
Final thoughts. Honestly, I just want to say, just all around, I think start with just changing the name of the schools. Now that it's done, all for it, cool. But now we really need to start focusing on the issues at hand. If that's what they wanted to deal with, they've dealt with it. Let's give the teachers a livable wage now. I think the time is finally here for where we can start paying teachers a respectable wage. And I think that goes for bus drivers too. I don't believe in anything that anyone would classify as low skill work. I don't believe that's a thing. So I don't believe $16 an hour is respectable for a bus driver at all. And then I'll just leave you with, if anyone watching happens to know anyone who is a teacher, maybe just if you feel kind enough to donate them some school supplies or just let them know how much you appreciate the work they do.
Dude, Phenomenal. Crushed it. Dude's got stuff to say and delivers it well. Wickower.
We're rebranding schools because we deem someone from 100 or more years ago to be a racist, while calling people that we disagree with racists, while our kids are being actual racists. I think we need some introspection. There is a great line in the Bible that says, "See to the plank in your own eye before helping your neighbor take the speck out of his eye."
Damn.
Wow.
That was good, wasn't it?
That was.
Judah, fire, spitting it.
Thank you.
Bravo. A week in the Outer Banks, well earned. You just went out on a high note, Judah Wickower. Best thing you've ever said on this network, right there.
Not about best. But
No, well, it's most succinct.
okay, fair enough.
Most succinct. I'll close with this. Oh, God. I'll close with this. If we don't prioritize public school education by making the right choices with our tax dollar allocations, we're going to have hallways of poor kids taught by teachers that are overworked, underpaid, and are thinking about quitting, and school bus drivers that are overworked, underpaid, and thinking about quitting. We're creating epicenters of poverty in public schools. There's a reason private school enrollment in Central Virginia is at an all-time high. Please do not allow our public schools to become epicenters of poverty. And as Michael Buchensky just said, these children will graduate without the ability to get a solid job or career, but at least they could be proud their school name is not racist.
Amen.
And on that note, for Judah Wickower and Joey Rifkin, this is the I Love Seville show on a glorious Friday in Charlottesville, Virginia. So long, everybody.